Hey guys, and welcome back to Taylor Tales. I know there's a lot of you that were waiting for this to sit in the live stream that this is not completed route. So, oh, I don't even have enough coins to do this. Okay, well let's get some coins and play some. Yeah, we can go. Hell yeah. Next to the taxi, loading in her luggage. Angela, where's your head? Oh god. Don't look so sad. It's not like I'm leaving you forever. I promise I'll be back, Pumpkin. Angela blows a kiss at Neil. Neil, listen to your schemes. Schemes? What schemes? I'm leaving it all behind me. Angela gives her widest and brightest smile. This is from both of us. We hope you take your time over there, I say. Angela accepts the present. You're both so disgustingly sweet. Please don't do anything rash over there. Don't fool around with the pool boy, I joke. Neil rolls his eyes at us and crosses his arms. Just leave already and get back all better. I can't miss my flight anyway. Angela finally opens the door to the cab and sits inside. She rolls down the window to talk to us. Don't forget to water my plants for me, she said. Angela blows him another kiss. Thanks to both of you. I'm going to miss you. See you soon, I say. Please don't do anything to warn me. To the airport. The car engine starts up and slowly the car starts to move down the street. Right before the car turns the corner, Angela pops out her head from the window and yells something at us. By the way, guys, I forgot to tell Neil's parents that you two aren't getting married. Oh god damn it, Angela. My eyes widen and so does Neil. Neil starts to run after the car. Close a kiss before the cab finally turns the corner and out of sight. I stand there, rooted to the ground. Angela! Neil yells out loud, but she's far too gone to hear it. I shake my head in disbelief. She pulled another Angela stunt, letting us know at the last possible moment that she didn't tell Neil's parents. And now we're still stuck in this pretend marriage sham. Angela will be gone for who knows how many months. She definitely not going to own up to her idea and confess. What are we gonna do? I ask, turning to Neil. Neil displays a wide variety of emotions, mostly conflict. But what about right now? What if we'll have another run-in with your mother? Neil stuffs his hand into his pockets and kicks his foot at the ground, clearly frustrated with the lack of options. He walks back and forth on the sidewalk, thinking about the best course of action, until he stops in front of me and sighs in defeat. I'll tell them. He sounds so lonely and it breaks my heart, having to face his parents all alone, to clean up his cousin's mess. I feel like I can't let him fix Angela's smile spreads on his face, and I can feel his fingers clasp around my own hand in return. He turns his head to where he last saw Angela disappear around the corner. Alright, he said, so we can take them on, together. At the very least, Neil deserves someone to be his moral support. It's your day off, right? I asked Neil, suddenly thinking of something. For once. Neil cocks his head to the side in response, but there's a relaxed look on his face. It doesn't seem like he's going to say no. Depends. How good are you at cooking? He asks instead. Are you insinuating I'm bad at cooking? I'm just God. Are you that worried I'll poison you? Wouldn't put it past you. Fuck you, Neil. Fine, don't come, I say with a huff. Neil swiftly leans into me, his lips brushing over the tip of my ear. No, I'll come, he says in a low whisper, before pulling back. He gives me an all-knowing smirk and then finally starts walking away from me, getting inside of his car. I watch him drive off, left behind with all kinds of thoughts. I asked him out for dinner and Neil said he'll come. My heart is suddenly making flip off and stash it away somewhere. I don't pay much attention to details at the moment. Neil is... I'm kind of nervous. I never had Neil inside my home before. I mean, he's been to Molly's Beauty before, but never in my private quarters. The dish is broiling into the oven right now. It's almost done. Something chicken and pasta. I can't even remember what I threw in there anymore. I've been too busy making sure everything else is perfect as well. Everything has been cleaned and set up to display a nice and cozy mood. I opted out of the candles. That one seemed like I was trying too hard. It's dark outside and I'm dressed up in evening wear. It's a habit that kind of stuck because Angela kept insisting I dress up whenever we have dinner together. Hopefully Angela is having fun at her destination right now. The doorbell rings and my heart jumps inside my throat. He's here. Quickly, I open my front door to let Neil in.
Good evening, Melly.
Neil greets me in a soft voice. Hi, I stammer out. I don't know why I'm suddenly all tongue-tied right now. Neil casts his eyes towards the ground.
You look nice.
I can't tell if he's forcing himself to say that or if he's genuine. It's a genuine compliment. Either way, it embarrasses me because I definitely wasn't expecting that. Dinner is almost ready. Just let me serve it. Please take a seat. I'll leave Neil in the dining room to fetch the casserole dish out of the oven with my oven mitts. Oh god, please be good. Balancing the heavy dish in my hand, I make my way over to the dining table. Neil's already seated, keeping uncharacteristically quiet. His eyes follow my every move as I scoop. Enjoy, I say, feeling a bit awkward. Neil takes the cutlery and eats his food like a perfect gentleman, just like he did when he went out for dinner at the fancy restaurant. Have you heard anything from Angela yet? I tried to fill up the silence.
I don't think she cares much for keeping in touch, so don't expect her to say anything until a week or so has passed.
Oh, I was just wondering if she arrived safely, and that's all. Neil takes a napkin next to his plate and dabs it against his lips.
She arrived in one piece.
Even though that she can be quite a pain. Which brings me to my next question. I'm munching on the casserole. Excruciating slow. Excuse
Directly.
He lets out a deep sigh.
It occurs to me that I can't keep relying on Angela to do her part, so I will be honest to them myself.
He looks up from the... He sounds a bit hesitant, like I'd say no. We literally just said earlier that we would do this together. Of course, I stammer. I'll be there. I won't let you face them on your own. Neil's body relaxes and he gives me a genuine smile. I've never seen him with such a kind expression before, so I avert my eyes from him, finding myself a little breathless. We eat together in silence for a bit. It is not awkward silence, but there's no tension hanging in the air. For once, I'm silently enjoying Neil's company, and I never thought I'd live to see that day. What is?
The food. It's edible.
Fuck you. I cock an eyebrow at him. Are you complimenting my food? Neil turns his head away, his cheeks turning pink.
Perhaps.
He utters shyly. I lean both my elbows onto the table and give him a confident smirk. Neil is complimenting me. Neil, put some effort into it, I tease him. Neil tries to glare, but his cheeks stay pink, making him seem rather harmless and cute instead.
Your home cooking is adequate enough for my exquisite palate.
Ugh, Neil looks conflicted.
I like it, he mutters softly.
Oh, I'm glad I invited him over for dinner, otherwise I would never get to see such a side of him. He's been so complacent for once, and he's not giving me a snarky response. It's almost like the time at the masquerade, when I thought Neil was some flirty stranger. Remembering that just made me realize that Neil is capable of showing a nicer side of him, to even be able to hand out compliments without doing it through his gritted teeth, to be able to actually converse with me. It's a strange thing to sit here eating a meal with Neil, and we're both being civilized. Perhaps this is how things could have been like since the beginning, if he weren't such a jerk about it. After all, we met when we were kids and got along just fine back then. Oh. The room suddenly goes pitch black. What? What happened? I yell. All the lights are still on, so I believe it's just you. Great, I say with a frustrated groan. I don't even know why. I get up from my chair, putting my hands in front of me to be able to feel where I'm going. At the same time, I hear Neil getting up as well.
The fuse was probably blown. Where's your electrical panel?
I am downstairs behind them shut in response. Don't shine that in my face, I tell him, giving Neil a glare once I open my eyes. He's pulling out his cell phone and using the flashlight setting to illuminate our surroundings. I'm surprised he's taking charge like this. We reach my front door, the one leading to the staircase to go downstairs. The door bangs against a cardboard box behind it, causing Neil to stumble forward with too much force. My heart stops beating once I see his cell phone fly out of his hands, and all I hear, okay. Neil! I call out to him once more and I start moving forwards.
I can hear you. I'm right here, idiot.
I almost jump out of my own skin when I realize Neil's voice with my cell phone.
Great, it's probably broken.
I feel around the darkness when that scared me. Don't do something like that. Staying quiet. I don't want to take another person to the hospital again. Taking Angela to a hospital was already one too many times in a lifetime for me, and that really frightened me. It's okay, I'm alright, he reassures me in a low voice. Come on, take my hand. It's hard to see. I suddenly feel his hands pry my arm away from his and then slip his fingers between mine. He gently tugs me towards the edge of the staircase, and we both walk down until we reach the ground floor. Neil picks up his cell phone that's lying next to the cardboard box, and checks it for any defects and scratches. Well, there's an obvious one that can't be missed. His entire screen is cracked. The flashlight setting still works. It's gonna ruin whenever I'm near you. I don't know how to answer that. I bring bad luck? I joke. Neil snorts in response, but it's not angry sounding, just a bit peeved. I'm surprised by how well Neil is containing his anger. At his cell, he tugs me along through the dark, not saying a word. His hand feels warm. Point me into the right direction. I step in front of him and open up the door at the back where my electrical panel is located. Phone to me. Here, shine a light on it. I give him some light as he checks what's wrong. There's a bunch of switches and I honestly don't know which one is which. I haven't had any trouble with the electricity yet, so I never really had any need to know. I'm surprised Neil seems to know what he's doing though. He checks every single switch until he flips the big green one on, and suddenly I can hear the whirring of electricity spring back on. The light is in my boutique springs back on. Well, that was surprisingly simple. It's back on, I say so delightfully. It was probably your oven that brought it down. You may want to buy a new one. In my joy, thanks! Neil jerks back, his cheeks catching fire, and he looks at me in shock. Don't! He starts, a bit at a loss of words. I stare at him, wondering what's with his extreme reaction. He rubs a spot on his cheek that I kissed. Sneak attacks aren't allowed, he grumbles. Well, honestly, Neil, I didn't think you had it in you. When you mentioned you pay someone to clean your apartment, I figured you wouldn't even know what an electrical panel is in the first place. This seems to turn Neil's face even redder. Oh, this is so much fun to see him squirm in front of me. I'm the one she calls whenever something went wrong. I may be rich, but I'm not ignorant, he hisses. He roughly takes the cell phone out of my hand. I know he's acting all indignant right now, but I can't help and feel that it's all just for show. He's not really offended or even angry that his screen got a giant crack in it. I'm sorry about your cell phone. I can offer to pay for the replacement slides. That's what I have insurance for. He continues to surprise me with his words. He's expected? Yes, I say immediately. I will gladly start pointing all of the things that made it your fault if it pleases you so much. You already said it's not my fault. It's because of you, he says in a low hiss against my ear. His breath makes me shiver and tilt my head to the side, staring directly at his collarbone, and fighting the temptation to kiss it. Neil slides his fingers through my hair until he pushes them up against the back of my head. The feel of his fingertips against my scalp is soothing and exciting. Then the nuke. The nuke? Isn't that like a thing where you can the nuke? You know, you read those books? I don't even know what it's called. I think it's the nuke. Okay, I don't know. Sorry, that was just a random thing to say. Then his breath is hot on my skin, and in turn, it's making my sister stared at me while I read this. Across Neil's back, pushing his body closer against mine. I feel like I'm on some sort of drug. My sensations are all heightened, and every single movement that Neil makes shoots a painful throbbing to my heart. Is it bad that I'm thinking I want to lose control around me? I want him to lose control around me? Yes. It's not bad. I want it to. I swallow loudly and I part my lips, feeling them touch the rim of his ear. Maybe I want you to lose control, I whisper. Oh damn! The moment those words leave my lips, I breathe in a sharp gasp as Neil hungrily plants his mouth on the side of my neck. The suction on the sensitive patch of skin there is enough to make my knees buckle over, and with it, my entire to draw blood to the surface of my neck. It feels so good. Eventually, Neil manages to make me squirm against him as he sucks even harder. Damn, this is some PG-13 shit right here. And just like that, his lips leave my neck alone, and I let out a shallow breath and look him in the eye. His golden eyes are burning with passion, and that wasn't their head and knocking him into the wall. Neil's back suddenly hits the control panel and shuts down all the power, stranding us in the darkness. I don't even care. I don't wait a second before I crash my lips to a mush. He kneels. I can't do Neil moaning. Let me see. Neil moans, his muffled against my mouth. I can feel him twitch, and fingers slip into my hair, and he grazes them against the back of my scalp, pulling me closer to him and pushing Neil's back with his plump lips on mine, sucking the daylights out of them. It feels good. It's like our lips are magnets because we can't seem to leave each other alone. I let a one hand wander free across his chest, and I can feel Neil's heart wildly beating against my palm. It's racing as fast as mine is. Neil has one arm wrapped around my waist, and he thrusts his hips. Whoa! And he thrusts his hips. In this opportunity, Neil's hot tongue enters me. Whoa! The sensation feels like a pleasant burn. His tongue brushes against mine, and it's making me breathless and hot. He toys around with me, slowly, as if he wants me to beg for more. I'm not in the mood for games, so I gently bite down on his tongue as a warning. Neil quickly pulls back, staring at me with open eyes. Then he closes his eyes. He closes his eyes because there's no denying I want Neil at this moment, and Neil wants me to. To continue kissing. Neil flips the lights back on. I squint my eyes at the sudden brightness and literally, dude, you literally thrusted your hips against me and now you want to leave? No, that is not even fair. No, why leave now? Don't. Something important tomorrow. I can't stay, he explains. Oh. The disappointment in my voice is hard to mask. I wanted him to stay with me. I can't help but feel rejected. I swear, everything in this game just doesn't want us. It just doesn't want us together, and it's so done. I'm just so done because I can't. First, I just the broom, and then the things falling on the floor. Neil lowers his eyes, and he ushers me out of the small room so that we can have. Out of the hallway, he looks at me, staring into my eyes with a gaze full of questions and uncertainty. I see my own feelings reflected into them. Then Neil finally breaks eye contact. Thanks for getting my electricity back. Don't thank me for that. Even a child could. As you wish, he says, this time smiling slightly. It's just I'm all still so in turmoil, but one thing is clear. I want Neil. Is it wrong for me to want him to stay with him longer? Good night then. I struggle with getting the words out. Neil hesitates for a moment, staring into my eyes. It's making me feel weak in my knees. It's like he doesn't want to leave, just like I don't want him to leave either. Except he finally forces himself to give me a curt nod. Good night, he says, and turns around to open the back door. Neil finally leaves my boutique. I touch my lips with my index finger, still feeling a tingle with the sensations I was experiencing moments ago. Moments before, I feel anxious about what's going to happen next. These are all the chapters available from now on. Thank you for playing. You scored 8 fierce points and 4 kind points. You're on the passionate ending. You have played for 5 hours and 74 minutes. You can no longer advance Neil's story, but you can still play around with the tailoring system or read Dimitri's route. No. Well, I guess I just have to wait until, you know, they update this. Because I just want Neil. I just want him. And we're on the passionate route? Are you kidding? Yeah, you know what? Fuck butterfly kisses. I want the passion. He literally, I'm so thirsty for him. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye, Johnny.